Aloha, friends and neighbors. Rollin Frost here, Kona astrologer, scratching out a living in Hawaii. Lucky we live Hawaii, though, I'll tell you. Yes, we're not subject to a lot of the difficulties the natural world bestows on us and the rest of the world. Where are we at now on the time track? Well, the big thing was you had a new moon on my birthday, on my sun. It's at 26 degrees Capricorn, 54 minutes, and man, that new moon was a doozer because it squared Uranus. There I was. A stupid phone call turned out to be a recording robot, some financial thing. A lady with an English accent. Damn, how'd they get my number? Well, that's kind of thing's going to happen a lot this month. That new moon, squared Uranus. And a square is something you're caught in, you're stuck with. It's like I got to haul around this big, heavy suitcase and can't let go of it. It's stuck to my hand. Well, what's stuck to your hand is irritation over Uranus. Yeah, Uranus is the telephone ringing away. Thinking all my life, we learned got to run for the telephone and get it before, whoever's calling hangs up. When the bell rings, boom, you got to run for the ring. Well, I'm running for the ring. Most of the young folks don't do that. Most of the people I know that now have cell phones, or not even cell phones, they're digital phones. You call them, they never answer. No. They're going to call you back at their leisure. So they're taking the running for rings irritation out of Uranus. Good for them. But we're all going to be stuck with it. There'll be leaf-blowing noises, chainsaw noises, loud motor noises, irritating buzzes, and lots of little problems with batteries and things. That's the nature of the month from mid-January to mid-February due to that new moon. Now there's another new moon coming up in February. It's about Mr. Trump. I'm going to get to that after the Sky Mirror. First, let's do some work for you. I'm working for you here, not for public access TV stations. I'm working for you. I'm having trouble with them. More on that later too. Okay, here's the planetary pattern. Here you can see the sun squaring Uranus. And I made a note here that the new moon squared Uranus, which puts a lot of extra zap and over-emotionality in it. It's like there's that innocent robot phone call from a sweet English accent lady saying, this is a message about, your Federal Reserve saving notes for some... Geez, I get all angry. I almost threw the phone down. I'm overreacting. Every time the battery doesn't work. Worst thing is, and the classic, is the remote control on the TV doesn't work. I had a 1-year-old little boy in here, wonderful, yes, a couple days ago, and he spied the remote control, and he knew what it was, grabbed it and started punching buttons. So the remote control, it's open it up, roll the batteries around in your finger a little bit. Don't even have to take them out. It'll usually make the contact. Usually the problem's in the contact. And if you take the batteries out of the remote control, you better have the new ones ready to go in because it'll only hold all the programming for a few seconds, and then bang, you have to go back and reprogram it. Or you'll just plain lose the remote control. Or something else like that. Keys to the car, there's another big thing. I got tired of it once and replaced the whole ignition on the old Toyota truck with a round button and a square button underneath the steering column. Punch the square button, the ignition came on. Punch the round button, started the starter. I had no key. A key was stuck, broke off in the ignition. Nobody would ever steal that truck. But we're used to it. We're used to you lose the key, you can't drive. Ho! Some battery goes out and your whole internet system goes down. or, there's an overload on a little switch and it blows a fuse and you don't know where the fuse is. They're not, anyway, these are temporary kinds of interruptions to life due to Uranus, who has to do with these electrical things and motor things and media things. And, I'm so ticked off at Spectrum. Oh, here's another 200 channels of slosh, cooking shows and sports shows nobody wants to see. And then they're going to double the fee to you, expect you to grin and bear it and pay their exorbitant fee. Uranus misbehaving. You're going to see the results of it this coming month, right to the middle of February. So it's a theme, irritation by Uranus. At least some part of the circus is entertaining. Okay, we still got Mars. He's 6 degrees off Jupiter there. It's not too bad. But I don't think he's going to get pumped up anymore. Jupiter, though, is at 20. Oops. Oh, did you see that black screen pop up? There's another glitch. We're going to have a lot of glitches. Watch the TV, the radio. Wish I had a TV in my car. I wish I had a car with a 12-volt system that was totally independent of all of the infrastructure. That'd be neat. Well, Jupiter's sextile Pluto. There's a lot of good research going on. The new moon was back here. You're up here now on the Thursday show. Thursday's an interesting time. The moon's in Aquarius. And probably you had good luck with the gadgetry during Thursday, in the middle of the day. But as you go to Thursday night, look out, here's this Mars thing. There's a square to Mars. Impatient, angriness Thursday night. I'm impatient and angry. With public access Olelo station in Honolulu, who decided in the wisdom, can't mail things in, you got to bring them and put them over the counter. Nope, you can't use DVDs, you got to have a computer and do this professionally. Jeez. I'm angry. Well, save it for Thursday night, Frost. Friday, just before lunch, the moon shifts into Pisces. And maybe we'll get a little more Jesus-like attitude as the moon approaches Neptune. Here's a sextile to Saturn. Can I possibly figure out why the management at a public access station would close out everybody except a few corporations from using their station? Could I understand this? What's Saturn doing? Could I understand how Trump is ripping off our national monuments and forest reserves, giving them to his rich corporate friends? I can't understand Saturn. I think just Saturn is, is all concerned with money and not people. The cross of matter over the crescent of flesh. That's what Saturn is. So if you're getting along with him Friday afternoon, beware. He's, underneath it all, he's a real Scrooge. As you go into Saturday, moon's still in Pisces, and here's Neptune. It's happening about church time between breakfast and lunch. And the moon going by Neptune can be a wonderful experience. We had a good lunation at 12 Cancer that set up Neptune. People are happy with them. Priest, artist, doctor, musicians, music. Remember what the wise man said. The ills of this earthly world, you can find respite in music. That's Neptune. And cats. So, I hope you have some respite. This is Neptune is open up your higher soul, your higher self, generates some compassion. You start to say, well, gee, those poor people. And you see the bulldoze the homeless tents. You should be thinking, oh, those poor people. That's good Neptune. Anyway, you'll get a hit of it Saturday, first half of the day. Saturday night, here's Jupiter and Pluto. 20-degree discovery, lightning bolts of truth, late Saturday night. This is actually Sunday morning, 2, 3, 4 o'clock. So, it'll set off every 6 hours, but so it can't be too specific, depends on your location. Late Saturday night, if you're staying up. Early Sunday morning, anyway, there's discovery. Read the Sunday papers. Go on the internet. There's new things come up. What do you mean the dinosaurs all had feathers? What do you mean that Jesus wasn't born on December 25th? What do you mean, that PTSD is a virus? What do you mean that ravens were domestic pets? I got so many discoveries. I'm so frustrated in getting them out there. And I'm having more glitches on the screen. There's a loose connection someplace here. Doggone it. Well, play it loose Saturday and discover Saturday night, Sunday morning, and put it into action. Here's Sunday, moon in Pisces trines Mars and sextiles the sun. And you can do some physical stuff, and do some protecting of your home and your yard and your pets and your neighbors and whatever else you want to protect. Write a letter to Olelo and protect the astrology show. I'll give you address in a bit. Get your pencil and paper ready. So this is a good time for activism. You got the information. It's pure truth. Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon and evening. Make a plan. Act on it. Here's the square to Saturn. Geez, the guys in charge, the laws, the rules, the regulations. He wrote a protocol. He made a rule. I can't send that to you because you're off island. I got to send it to the... Never mind. I'm getting obsessed with Uranus squares. Here's Venus. Nice sextile to Venus. It's Monday morning early. Stretch. Eat something nice for breakfast. There's sugar around. And Monday with the moon in Aries is a rather nice time compared to some others. You get to Tuesday now, just before lunch, here the moon squares Pluto. Here it's starting to feel shaky again and feel like emergencies and Okay, I got picture back on. A very ornery plug of firewire going into the deck. And I ordered another firewire plug, but it'll be a week, 2 weeks before it gets here. But this blinking out of is a warning to you folks, especially on Oahu. Those guys say no more DVDs. You're not going to see the show. You got to go to the internet or the website or YouTube and see the show. And all this blinking says things are going to happen around here to me and my house. And I'm trying to get ahead 3-4 weeks because I know the SHIT is going to hit the fan. And here's another likely spot. It's going to happen on Tuesday. The moon goes by this Uranus thing. And there's glitches, and there's shakings, and there's power problems, and plugs, and batteries, and yuck. Wednesday it gets better. Moon goes into Taurus. Feels a lot better. Very organized before lunch. There's a trine to Saturn. Thursday morning, moon still in Taurus. There's a sextile to Neptune. We regain our faith. Maybe Father in the sky has real work for me to do yet. Maybe I can continue this show to you folks. I'm going to do it on the internet, I guarantee. I have it in mind for the next year. I'm going to do a basic course to learn astrology in a real simple way so an 8-year-old can do it. It's what's needed. So I'm going to do it. And I got to maybe till September, October to do it. And that's going to be on the internet. There may not be a lot of public access around the time these guys get done with their rules and regulations and lines and signs and categories and guys behind desks. Ugh. Thursday, I'm ticked off at rich people. There's a moon's opposing Jupiter, in the afternoon while it trines Pluto. I could discover and move and do things if it weren't for all those rich people. And the lawyers want so much. Eek, Jupiter. Thursday. Friday morning you wake up, the moon's still in Taurus in the morning, but there's a square to, or an opposition to Mars, and everybody's feeling feisty and angry. And so, you're not going to, you might as well get up. But if you leave for work too early, let's see, where is this? This is 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m. roughly. You could wind up with a lot of impatient people on the road. This is not a good time for Mars. You want to keep your Mars in check, ask yourself what you're protecting. You may have to ask that several times to get your internal Mars straight. When you do that, the external Mars will get straight. And the guy behind you in the car will back off. It won't do road rage. Didn't know that, did you? If you're sitting in the road and you're pissed off and angry sitting in your car, and the guy next to you is starting to rage because the moon's opposing Saturn or Mars, and well, what happens is your internal rage can be handled by asking yourself what you're protecting, and when you figure it out, there'll be physical work to do, not anger. That's Mars is there to do physical things to protect. When he's angry, he doesn't know what to protect. What are you protecting sitting in your car all angry? Once you figure it out, the anger will go zip, and then just, I got to do this when I get that. But when you handle the internal anger, son of a gun, something weird happens. The guy that in the road rage in the car next to you, he settles down. What's outside and what's inside are the same. So if you calm down your internal Mars, the external Mars will calm down too. Yep. Good lesson for Friday morning. Friday afternoon, moon goes into Gemini. Feels better. There's a trine to the sun. We got plans. We'll come through. Father is happy with us. Saturday morning, January 27th, there's a trine to Venus. There's some sweets around. But there's a square to Neptune. And here, go to church? Come on, let's have breakfast in bed. I mean, even if you do, there'll be music, or there'll be the eggs went bad, or there'll be questionable things that tend to block your pleasure Saturday morning. But just part of the scene. Saturday you go through the rest of the day, and late in the evening, midnight, 1 a.m., here's the trine to Uranus. Hey, technical things are okay. I've learned to twist the plug just right when I catch that short. Sometimes it takes me a minute or two to get that plug to work. And it's all dependent on that one little plug. Isn't that terrible? But I'm fixing it Saturday night. I learned new technical things. Sunday morning, moon still in Gemini. You're still feeling intellectual abilities in La Catch, good Aquarian values, until the sun goes in to Cancer, which is before lunch, just before lunch. And then the moon's going to oppose Saturn. Doggone it. We got to deal with these bureaucrats. What's the difference between a bureaucrat and an aristocrat? They're all crats. But these guys make rules and regulations and don't realize what's going on. They got so much management. They got too much money. They got all these managers. Oh, let's make some rules. Let's make some regulations. Let's change this. Let's do that. And they don't realize what they're doing to the people that do the work. Producers like me sending shows in every week. Bureaucrats. Well, maybe I'm supposed to be doing something different, huh? Father wants to change my job. I'll acquiesce. Doesn't mean I can't be ticked off about it. Watch the show on YouTube or on the website. Do it. Watch it on your computer. Watch it on your iPhone. Watch it. There's a lot of places you can watch a show. You're not dependent on a Lelo either, just like me. Monday morning, moon's in Cancer. Trines Neptune. Play some music as you go off to work. Regain some faith in this whole thing. there is a real religion. There's a true Father in the sky. You know, he fixes everything he can. Got to know, Father has to work through the physical world, though. He doesn't just snap his fingers and Mr. Trump straightens up. Okay, those of you on Oahu, got your pencils and papers handy? If you want to keep the show on, public access, it's time to stand up. This has happened before in the 20-year history of the show on various islands for various reasons, where the public stood up and says, hey, don't do that. We want the astrology show on. So you can write or email to the Olelo CEO, the Chief Executive Officer, Sanford Inouye, and, you know, tell them. Letters are better. I mean, emails, they tend to think they're robots, but here's the problem. You know, tell Sanford, please grandfather the astrology show. 20 years here. Passed 2 rules. The first rule, when they really tried to close me out, was to allow DVD to be mailed to the Olelo office, not to have to drive to your office and hand it over the counter. That's a big problem. You realize how much time and energy and money it costs to drive into these offices and hand over a DVD? I have been mailing DVDs of the astrology show for 20 years to all the stations. I mean, to Hoiki, to Akaku, to Naleo, and to Olelo before they got too many executives pumping it. So I mailed it in all the time. And then, why'd they change their rules? What's going on? I think what's happening is they had too much money. And they opened all these locations. They opened offices. Instead of just the Mapunapuna big one, they got Kaimuki, Nanakuli, you know, Wahiwa, Waipahu, and Kaneohe. What are they doing? Buying real estate, setting up offices and people to sit there and pass paper around. And they're requiring more and more of us poor producers. So that's the first thing. I want my mailing privilege back. Just grandfather one show. If you want to you're trying to get everybody to go into your offices because you bought them all and nobody's using them. Come on. I want my mailing privilege back. I had it for years and years and years and years. It's just downright stupid to have me have to find somebody on Oahu, mail it, the DVD to that person. That person has to drive to an Olelo office and hand it over the counter. That's a lot of needless steps and things to go wrong. All the other islands, I mail it right to public access station. They handle it there. Smooth. It's been smooth for 20 years. But Olelo, oh no, in their wisdom, you got to hand it in person or have your presenter do it. So that's the first problem, is this ridiculous thing of walking the DVD. And now, the second one, they're not going to allow DVDs. They're not going to allow standard DVDs. Almost everything. The video, no, they want data discs. Data discs don't have video. They've got data. They're made on computers. Now, this is a very strange thing. I mean, before they talked about how they were going to try to have us producers put the shows on the internet and email it over there. Now they're just talking about cutting out the standard DVDs. They're supposed to serve you. The law says they're supposed to put on public access television what you, the public, wants. If you have an old DVD of your family picnic, you can go down there and they have to put it on. But they're not going to accept DVDs anymore. I mean, this is just as bad as got to drive in and mail and hand it over the counter rule. This rule is just as disabling for many of us. These guys think that everybody is a corporation and they have computers and professional video guys doing it. That's what Olelo wants, less trouble for them. But gee, there are people out here that still have stuff on VHS tapes. Come on. So there's two problems, and they've been brought in by new executives and new stuff, and I need to be grandfathered. Now, you can write to Alelo, Sanford Inouye, CEO, at 1122 Mapunapuna Street, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96819. Did you write that down? You could email it, Google Alelo, click on Management, scroll down. They have a thing, Contact Us. You can try to email them, but you know, you're probably not going to pay a lot of attention. There's a box that says, I am not a robot. Sheesh. So nothing like a handwritten note, a handwritten letter to Sanford Inouye. What are you doing with these rules? We're losing the astrology show. Fix it. I can't even talk what Trump is doing. Everything I've worked for in my life, he's undoing. Here's a new moon, February 15th. The new moon is at 27 Aquarius. Okay, Trump had an eclipse at 28 Leo. So this new moon opposes the eclipse. Okay? Yeah. Also, he's got Saturn opposing his Mercury. They're going to judge his words on March 30th, May 6th, and finally on December 9th. But that's too slow. I think he could have some problems from this new moon. It's just going to last a month, from mid-February to the middle of March. And everybody's against him. It's about time. You know? I mean, taking our national monuments, our reserves, and giving it away to corporations to rip off the resources. Can't believe what he's doing. And the people he's putting in there. You know, I just can't even hardly talk about it. Except one thing I know, the eclipse on his rising sign is going to take him out. I predicted the Ronald Reagan thing quite accurately. I'm not going to get real accurate about this because he'll come back at me. But hope is there, folks. Trump can't last. The eclipse is going to make a huge problem for him. And this new moon is going to set that off for a month. There's going to be stuff going on. And a little more detail is Venus is going to hit that point, 28 Aquarius, and the pretty girls are going to accuse Trump. Mercury, kids are going to hit it here. So Venus hits 8th, 9th, 10th of February. Mercury hits 15th, 16th, 17th.